I'm currently standing in a majestic valley, and I just want to welcome you all to beautiful, beautiful Svalbard in Norway. Svalbard is in the name of a group of islands far up north of Norway, more or less halfway between the mainland of Norway and the North Pole. In the 17th century, whaling bases were established on Svalbard as some of the first establishments, and later on in the 20th century several coal mines. To this date, there's still 2 active coal mining companies on Svalbard, and one is Russian and one is Norwegian. Earlier, this coal mining business was the main business on Svalbard, but to this date, that has changed over to tourism. But still, active coal mines are a thing on Svalbard. Spitsbergen is the name of the biggest island, which also houses the main city, Longyearbyen, and the only commercial airport to Svalbard. This is where my plane landed, and I was mainly in and around Longyearbyen. As of the Svalbard Treaty signed in 1920 in Paris, Svalbard is recognized in the Norwegian sovereignty. Though Svalbard is counted as a demilitarized zone and totally visa-free zone, meaning that a big number of countries' citizens can move to and work in Svalbard without any visa applications. This is one of the main reasons that one of the biggest groups of people there is. On first place there's Norwegians, and on second place there's Swedes and Thais. Furthermore, Svalbard is entirely tax-free, and most of the products and services are way cheaper than on mainland Norway. The nature, animal and plant life is a big part of Svalbard, with approximately 2,500 permanent residents and 3,000 to 3,500 polar bears. Svalbard is not only the land of men. For the first couple of days of my trip, I was alone, and I just used the days to discover the surrounding areas and the city. I was staying at Longyearbyen Camping, which is a campsite just outside of the airport, and that's approximately 4 kilometers from the city. It takes around 30 minutes to walk, but you can also rent a bike at the campsite. So Longyearbyen is the northernmost establishment of its kind, and they don't really know how to use that. Even the ATM says the northernmost ATM in the world, and they got the northernmost liquor store, grocery store, pharmacy, hospital, whatever. It's kind of fun to be on the northernmost establishment in the world. Welcome to Svalbard. So after some days, I'm joined by my good friend Ida, and we went out hiking. So we went out hiking and camping. We went into this valley called Bear Valley, which was a really beautiful place. It was like taken out of a Game of Thrones or Lord of the Rings movie set. And we had the sun 24/7. The sun never sets down, and it was an amazing journey. All around in the valley you can see snow melting from the mountain tops, just pouring down into the rivers and later on into the ocean. The ground was some places soaking wet, and everywhere was just earing with plant and animal life. Because there's no trees in Svalbard, it really makes for some great scenic pictures. We set up camp in the middle of the valley, having wild reindeers walking around us eating. They're a bit curious because they have no natural predators on Svalbard except for the polar bears, but they don't really care that much about them. So they're really tame, and they can come really close up to you. We had a group of reindeers maybe 5 meters away from our tent. We boiled some water and ate field rations and just had a really great time. When the time to sleep came, we had one of us sleeping and one of us staying watch for polar bears. The threat for polar bears is not that high, so close to the establishments, but you never know. I would not have myself been waken up by a polar bear just outside my tent, so we followed the advisements of the local police and had the one of us standing watch and one of us sleeping on turn. So I really wanted to take a second and talk about what I really want with this channel. For the last couple of years, maybe 5 years, I haven't been traveling much, or as much as I like to anyhow, and the next couple of years I'm going to do my traveling. And I always wanted to be creative, always wanted to make something, and I always wanted to make something that you can look at. I've tried photography and everything else in between, and various things of movie making as well. But for my travels, I'm just gonna bring along my camera and make videos, and more or less for myself and my own entertainment. But if anyone else would like it, that would be cool, and maybe people will see places they don't even know about. So with that said, I'm going to try to show a little bit more of Norway and do trips around Norway, just to show around how beautiful this country really is, because we got everything in Norway. We got hills, we got mountains, we got lakes, we got and everything in between. So I think Norway is one of the most beautiful places on planet Earth, to be honest. But I'm going to visit other countries as well. So if you really enjoy what I do, please share it, subscribe and everything else. And I'm happy to take suggestions if you have some critic or something you may think could be done different. Thanks. So the next day we packed up our things and we hiked back into the town. For the next couple of days we rented a room at the hotel, and I'm gonna write in the description below the name of the hotel and all the places we visited, so you can go there as well if you're ever in Longyearbyen. We had no bad experiences at none of these places. The food was amazing everywhere, and compared to the mainland it's really cheap as well. Just on a side note, if you're in Longyearbyen, check out the night and bar life. It's surprisingly good for a city with just 2,500 residents, and we had a really good time 2 of the nights we were there. So yeah, it's absolutely worth checking out. But I do guess it's best in the summer though. So for our last day we had booked a guided tour to the York Mountain, and to get there we had to use kayaks to get over a little fjord. We had 2 really good guides, and the total group was probably 10 persons. Hey guys, back in Oslo. I sat here editing this movie and I just thought a little about how I wanted the thing to end. So if you ever wanted to go to Svalbard, just being more curious about Svalbard, I'm gonna give you a mix of tips and tricks and fun facts about the place. So thank you for watching the film so far, I really appreciate it. Hope you will see the next one as well. I'm going to an amazing location in northwest of Norway, so that's gonna be fun. Thank you, and have fun with the last bit. So for the first one, this is regarding the polar bear threat that is on Svalbard. There is a lot of polar bears over there, and they're quite curious, and sometimes if they're hungry they can be aggressive. So the law says that you have to carry a rifle when you're outside the established settlements. If you have a rifle yourself, you can bring that along, and if you don't have one and still want to go outside the establishment, you can apply to get a temporary carry permit and then rent a gun in Longyearbyen. If you're on a guided tour or trip, the guides will carry guns themselves and give you the protection you need. So the next tip up is about the seasons on Svalbard, and Svalbard only got 3 seasons because the seasons we usually have are so indistinctive on Svalbard. So they got the winter months where the sun never rises and is pitch black for 4 months. Then they have the summer months where the sun is up 24/7 and there's a transition period where the sun both rise and set. Next thing up is a fun fact: you're actually not allowed to die on Svalbard. This means that if you're old or really sick, you're actually shipped back to the mainland, and this is because they can't bury you on Svalbard. The ground is permafrosted all year round, and if they would bury you there, put your body down in the ground, you would never decompose because it's like putting your body into a freezer. This means too that if you have any sickness or diseases, these diseases will also be kept intact, which is the case as some earlier citizens or residents of Svalbard had the Spanish flu and got buried with the Spanish flu. These bodies have actually been dug up and used in research on the Spanish flu as the specimens were supreme. If you're ever going to Svalbard, I hope you have a real amazing time such as I did. I'm probably going to go back just in the winter months and go on a lot of expeditions. Thank you for watching the movie, and I hope I'll catch you on the next one.